Position 3 Beastmasters seem pretty okay to you, John?
I think overall, yeah. I think the hero is still in a pretty darn good spot. It still does a lot of work. You can harass quite well in the laning phase with your boars. The vision you get from those hawks are still great, and the single target stun with that primal roar is really strong. So your ganking potential is good. Your information game is good, and your lane harassment's great with the wild axes and the boars. The one issue I do have is that I don't know the Beastmaster definitely has tapered off in the meta just a tad bit. It's still very viable. I'm just curious to see how well EVOS does right out in the off lane. It just doesn't feel as disruptive as it was before. It feels like you definitely have a lot more offlane heroes that are more annoying to deal with nowadays. EVOS does close it up with the Rubik pickup, tying up their two supports, Venge and Rubik, as their support duo. I feel like it's always good to have a Rubik. You always have a lot of utility you can steal. In this case, it's going to be the Nyx Assassin Impale, Spike Carapace, and Manburn are all good as well, and the Vendetta if you can grab it. The least useful is probably Vendetta, I have to say. I think you get a lot more value from even just the Impale, not having that cast point as well. Makes it pretty potent on the Rubik. Leshrac spells are pretty good as well. Every single one of them does add a fair bit. I think his ultimate's probably the most useless one for Rubik to steal. And Lich, every single spell, everything in that kit is quite useful as well. So, pretty decent game to be Rubik. Nothing flashy, nothing like Enigma you can really counteract. But so many small spells that can spell the difference in these team fights for you.
Mineski, 4th pick for them now. They plan to go with this. I mean, it does feel like they've potentially gone for that core Leshrac role as well now. That Lich pickup. They will actually go ahead and pick up the Terrorblade themselves, and I find that rather interesting because the Terrorblade is a very, very strong carry, but the thing is, as they saw in game number 1, once the Metamorphosis is unavailable, it kind of just doesn't do anything.
I think the one thing with Mineski picking it up is that they most likely understand what timings to play around it, and I think they should understand as well that you shouldn't really lounge around with Terrorblade. You should push your advantage when you get it and play while you're strong. I think the fact that EVOS banned out the OD themselves also played into the fact that Mineski felt comfy picking up this hero. So, of course, they banned out the Morphling last, as having that Morphling have the ability to Metamorphosis is not good. We've seen it before, and just banning that out is pretty safe. So, I feel like Mineski's draft has certainly come together here. A pretty decent ganky potential, really strong magic damage coming out. Decent push for the Leshrac and the Terrorblade. So a lot of bases really covered quite well. I just am curious to see if Mineski can run this Terrorblade much more effectively than EVOS did.
Well, they will finish it off with the Pangolier, and Raging Potato, he has been doing a fantastic job. The thing is, things are quite open in terms of how they're going to lane these and what positions they'll put them in, but it does feel like a core Leshrac game coming out. Would also be a core... Hold on. It could be a core Nyx Assassin, but that doesn't seem to make much sense.
No. I'll have to disagree with you on that.
Yeah,
it's probably going to be a core Lesh. We're going to see the Pangolier and off. Terrorblade in safe lane. I think that's the most sensible way to run this draft. Leshrac mid up against Razor isn't the worst thing. In fact, I think this is one of the lanes where Razor actually doesn't win by much, if at all, because that static link won't really bother the Lesh too much. Oh, okay. They threw that one. Yeah.
Disgusting hero coming out.
It's In Your Dream special coming out here. Arc Warden is going to be the last pick for EVOS. We are going to have an Arc Warden game, Mike. One of your favorite sorts of games.
Very disappointing from Team EVOS to go for this hero, but fair enough. There's a lot on the line, John. I can't blame them for bringing out these kind of things from that deep, dark place. Team EVOS. We'll see if they can force this to a game number 3, or whether Mineski will be able to take this 2-0. But once again, TNC is currently waiting in the lower bracket final for the winner of this series. Overall, though, John, this draft, you can see both right now, one gives you more confidence.
I'd have to say Mineski's draft actually does give me a bit more confidence here. I feel like Mineski will understand just how to when to run that Terrorblade. They're going to be able to let Ajit jump in when it's best and pull him back to farming when it's ideal. And you really have to play around with that tempo. Again, you ride on that metamorphosis. You pop it on, you want to push a tower, you want to take a team fight, do as much as you can, and once it's down, you go back to jungling, farm up, build up your items, and wait until metamorphosis is back up. I think Mineski understands that, as they clearly did understand it in the last game, playing around that timing from EVOS. I'm keen to see whether or not EVOS will understand that this time around, though, going up against the Turbo themselves. They do have the signature of In Your Dream Arc Warden here. We've seen him do a lot of work in this hero. I have to say, their lineup is just, it feels like it lacks a certain pop. I think their team fight is not to the same scale as Mineski's, certainly in terms of wide area control. They have very good single target, lockdown. They have the Venge, they have the Beastmaster. They can hold someone down and whack them for a very long time, but for big 5-on-5 team fights, they're going to have to rely on Vlaiku to really get a nice big spell, maybe the Chain Frost, or even the Impale from Raging Potato, and rely on that to really get control of an area. Otherwise, your main control is really on single target, and it's excellent single target control. It's just not going to do too much in the team fights, which is mildly worrying. I think Mineski will be grouping up as 5 every time that Metamorphosis is up. At the very least, throwing 2 more heroes to Ajit's way, and having him push out lane.
Enough, they put the Pango mid as well up against that Razor. I suppose that's another way to just break the static link every time with the Swashbuckle. KP will take the Leshrac for himself. Raging Potato there on the Nyx Assassin this time around. Of course, In Your Dream there on that Arc Warden. The Arc Wardens can be a real headache to deal with, but see what In Your Dream can get done. Actually, nice double impale and the stun coming out from KP. Won't find any kind of real kill potential, although Raging Potato will not cop that spirit. KP will take that damage. Raging, thinking about another impale into the stun of KP, but they definitely wanted In Your Dream over Whiteman because Dream was already rather low in HP. It looks like they will at the very least secure that bot boundary rune. They're still going to try here on the side of EVOS. Double impale once again. Raging Potato, they'll go for the VS this time. Whiteman falling low. The Spirit chasing Raging Potato. It won't be a kill. Boundary rune's coming out and a lot of tips coming out from both sides.
Yeah, the mind game's definitely playing a part here now. I do want to point out, Mike, we are watching Moon be on this mid-Pangolier. We've seen this before. I'm really not sure how to feel about it, especially against Razor. I don't think this is the ideal lane for the Pangolier. I feel like you might have gotten a bit more value from that Leshrac in mid, actually, 1 to 2 times, or you would.
Well, I was saying before that the one thing that Moon can do is just swashbuckle every time that static link comes in. And Facehugger really won't be able to find much value in this lane, assumedly. Though he will have to cop a lot of harassment on that Pango. Of course, Facehugger has a nice long range with that whip from the Razor. Well, Raging Potato being very annoying towards In Your Dream. The double stun coming out. And body blocks as well. Raging Potato doing a good job here. In Your Dream falling low, but they can't quite finish him off. They do at least force out a salve, and he actually only has 1 Tango left on the Arc Warden.
Yeah, it's going to be a rough time for In Your Dream here, especially if he cops another stun combination coming out from Raging Potato and KP. I think once they hit level 2, it's going to be even scarier. The damage coming out from KP might be enough at that point to really get this kill.
Your Dream again. Raging Potato will hit the impale. Again, KP with the follow of Split Earth. And this time around, he should just be dead. 1 more will do the job after the stick charges. No, in fact, make it even more because he had a Fairy Fire available. But he's wasting all this gold. A nice block, actually, In Your Dream. We'll get away with that.
Really
Raging
nice
Potato,
block coming out.
He did not have a tango on him, John Raging Potato. He was all out. KP had one, but he couldn't get in range to use it.
Yeah, nice save from In Your Dream. Does manage to buy him some time in this lane and, at the very least not bleed first blood to the way of Mineski yet. He is going to have to wait a bit though and play a bit safe as he is Still completely out of regen. It's not like Whitemon has any regen to pass him either, so gonna have to wait on that. He will have to use the courier for that, and that will detract away a bit from the mid lane, but I don't think Facehugger is in too much trouble that he would really mind too much.
Bot lane, just a bit of a trade going on. Meanwhile, Whiteman copying a lot of damage from that Edict and should end up dropping here. And it looks like he will. KP will draw first blood for the side of Mineski. I mean, it was just bound to happen. Like, this Leshrac Nyx lane doing so much harassment already towards these two. It was going to be eventual that that kill just came out for the side of Mineski.
Yeah, they've been really just doing a lot of work up here at the top. The one thing with Whitemon dying, though, means that when he TPs back in, he can regen In Your Dream back to full. He does ferry over all the regen that In Your Dream bought, so gonna be comfy in this lane again. 6 tangos up, already popped his stuff to go back to mostly full health, and should be able to sustain in this lane for a bit longer now, Mike.
Still, the higher level that you see on KP, the more damage he's going to be able to dish out. And perhaps the burst could be enough, but it's like Raging will be forced to fall back a bit himself. Meanwhile, mid lane, we haven't talked about this one too much, but Facehugger is slightly ahead in terms of last hits, though it does seem like a rather passive lane. No real kill potential on either side here, unless one of the other overextends. Raging Potato was kind of coming around the mid lane, but decides better of it. He will just go up towards the top instead. While Avil doesn't want to go near Arjit while he's got that Frost Shield on. Speaking of Arjit, about to be the top of the last hits board as well in that Terrorblade. They're doing a pretty decent job of farming up.
Yeah, he has pretty much had a good time here down bot. Kind of like the same story in the last game, isn't it? With In Your Dreams Terrorblade. Just having a good time with that hero, farming up quite well, applying a good amount for Asta of Vil as well. Just maximizing that metamorphosis.
Whilst the Frost Shield is so annoying to go up against. That slow. It's making it that much harder to walk away. Wyman. They're going Raging. Leisu is here as well on that Rubik. And this should be a nice easy kill, although the lift was good. Raging Potato will die and will not get that top bounty rune off the side of EVOS. We'll make it a 1-to-1 now, 5 minutes in. Again, most heroes on the map just very comfortable with farming right now, and you do have these very farm intensive cores on both sides that really don't want to get involved too early on. Though Raging Potato does want to get involved very, very early on, but he may die again for this. One more will do it, and Whiteman will pick it up for the team. Second time Potato has gone down.
They really are investing quite a few resources up here to ensure In Your Dream has a good time. They had rotated Vlaiku as well in order to secure that lane. So it does look like EVOS really wants In Your Dream to have a, more than even lane. And that will kind of shaft their other lanes. Ajit definitely having a better time here at bot than Avil. Avil not too far behind, but again, he's not slowing down Ajit at all. And over at mid as well, Pangolier is falling a bit behind, 21-4 compared to Facehugger's 33-14. But at the same time, it's not a lane that Razor is outright dominating so far.
Gonna find Facehugger, a nice rolling thunder, and he's just gonna be able to continue doing this against Facehugger. Razor trying to survive. Moon should be able to find this though. No, Whiteman will stop the gank, and actually Swashbuckle misses, but Raging Potato will find the kill. He will also allow the Pangolier to back off and heal up. Whiteman still making the chase. Will find him. But Moon will be fine. He has a Swashbuckle and Shield Crash available if necessary.
Yeah, a really good move from Moon to recognize that it was a perfect spot for that Rolling Thunder, getting that kill on the Razor, who has had a pretty free lane, but again, not really dominantly leading over this Pangolier, and that just kind of gives Moon a little bit more to work with.
spoken too much about Avil in this bot lane, but he is starting to struggle in terms of farm, and now it looks like he's just going to go down to Arjit. A nice gaze coming out from the Lich and Arjit. One more right click, he will find it. Though, Leisu is here to try and find a return kill onto Arjit. Won't be successful in doing so. He will find Ninja Boogie, however, and that is somewhat of a trade. Unfortunately, for the side of EVOS, they do still lose out with their core.
Yeah, that's still a core for a support. Not the best trade in the world for EVOS, and again, you didn't get that big target in Ajit. He still had a free lane here.
Oh, KP managing to find a nice kill onto Whiteman. Again, that combination of Raging Potato and KP. Once that Impale hits, you're pretty much dead. Especially with the levels this Leshrac has been getting. At level 5, he has more than enough damage, and here comes Raging Potato again. KP, he's got the follow-up stun connected. There's no help so far. They're coming in, but it may be too late. In your dream, he barely makes it out for the moment. One more would do it. In fact, they do find it, but they will lose KP as the trade. Raging Potato trying to run now. Wyman, he has the magic missile, will throw it out, but the Spike Carapace is there. Facehugger will not stop the chase, but a nice impale to make sure they cannot continue. And I would dare say Mineski would be pretty happy with that. Like, they got the Arc Warden for the sake of losing the Leshrac.
Yeah, I think that's a much bigger trade going the way of Mineski. Again, you do kind of want to slow down the progression of an Arc Warden. His early itemization, once he hits 6, is really crucial to his farm accelerating. And In Your Dream is working towards that Necronomicon, but it's not going to be ready anytime soon so far, so he is going to be slowed down just a tad. Every single death will add on to that delay.
Yeah, certainly a struggle, and they're going to try and have a go at In Your Dream once again. Again, he has no support around him right now. It's just really up to Raging to get in range to be able to hit that impale. And In Your Dream, he walks forward, and there's a lot of patience here from Mineski. They will walk in, but they walk the wrong way. They now spot him out, KP. He may have to go in blind. He does not throw out the Split Earth. Raging Potato using that Spike Carapace, but the impale will not connect. In Your Dream, they will hit the secondary stun, but Leisu is now here to help out, and that is Raging Potato dead to In Your Dream. KP will make a run for it. It's really unfortunate, but really well played by In Your Dream as well to run really the correct way and just juke them out.
Yeah, that ward as well on the lane really helped out there. Just managing to show In Your Dream that he was being ganked up on, and I think that really cost Mineski just the vision game coming out from EVOS right now.
Impale does end up missing from Leisu. Excuse me, that was Raging Potato, although they will find In Your Dream regardless. Perhaps overestimating how tanky he is, and now Leisu as well does throw him up the cliff, but Raging Potato uses the Vendetta he just got to find the kill. Now Impale will connect with the Split Earth as well, and they will just walk their way out.
Yeah, again, nice clean 2 kills going the way of Mineski. In fact, they even get another one across the map. And, you know, this is a good amount of aggression coming out from Mineski. I do like that EVOS has been responding a bit more compared to Game 1. It's just not been ending up well. They've lost In Your Dream's Arc Warden a couple of times now. That does set him back a bit in terms of farming for this Necronomicon. And, you know, getting that split push, split farm going. Not going to be up anytime soon. Almost there though, but still a ways away.
Whiteman being chased down right now. Moon will find it with the swashbuckle. Field Crash was stolen by Leisu, but not going to be the greatest ability for the Rubik. Mineski certainly started to take over this game. A 3k net worth advantage 11 minutes in. Good Dream's farm on that Arc Warden is rather low at 3k, and it doesn't look like they're going to allow him to really farm at all. If Mineski can just continue this pressure with Raging Potato and KP, that Arc Warden's going to be pretty useless this game.
Yeah, it's going to be really hard for In Your Dream to bounce back if his items are delayed this much. I do like that he didn't opt for the fast Midas. As, you know, if he's struggling to finish up and grab these last few components for the Necronomicon, the Midas would have been very hard to clean up, and if that Midas was delayed, man, it's really hard to bounce back and refarm.
They find 2 very nice kills at the bot lane, EVOS. Taking advantage of that raw available in Avil now. They will find the Terrorblade and the Pango, and they will go for the tier 1 bot tower. Of course, the top was found by KP already, so will be a trade in that sense, but losing that Terrorblade to the side of EVOS definitely not going to be the greatest of news for Mineski.
Radiant's bottom tower has fallen.
Definitely so. Again, Mineski is riding on the back of Ajit this time, just like EVOS was riding on the back of In Your Dream in the last game. And he's still having a good time in farm, but he's definitely not running away in the gold yet. So Ajit still needs some time to really get big. Whereas EVOS is starting to hit their power spikes. You know, you have the 6 on Beastmaster, you have the 6 on Razor, level 11 on Razor actually, and you have the ultimates up in your supports. You are a bit ready to take these fights now and try to buy space for your Arc Warden.
Smoke will be there by EVOS. Will be broken pretty much immediately by Raging Potato, although there was a sentry on the ground. Nice spy Carapace. He will lag this out a bit, and Facehugger cannot actually chase any further. Meanwhile, mid lane, again, they're going on In Your Dream, although they may have to settle for the Venge instead, though there is help coming in. The Chain Frost from Leisu. He actually stole it off that Lich, and Moon is in massive trouble now. They'll lose 2 for the price of 1. Certainly not a great trade for Mineski. In fact, it may be 3. Raging Potato once again will find the Impale to save his own life.
Yeah, nice 2 kills going the way of EVOS and a lovely spell steal coming out from Vlaiku. That Chain Frost will prove useful, as it will probably have 1 more cast left before it fades away. So you do have that option. They do refresh instead, take the Impale, and that's going to be pretty strong for Vlaiku as well. Just having that nice multi-hero stun in your arsenal is going to do wonders for the Dire.
That is not the position he wanted to be in. Does end up finding Leisu, but loses his own life to Whiteman. He was trying to help out KP at the top lane to go for In Your Dream. He realizes they're rotating in, and now Raging Potato as well has been scouted by that sentry. Will make a run for it, but they drop another one immediately, and they will finally take care of that pesky Nyx. And that kind of puts EVOS back in the game. Net worth advantage is now negligible, and I mean, In Your Dream, slowly catching up on that Arc Warden. Things are going to start to get very problematic here.
Yeah, Mineski is losing a bit too much ground here. They have definitely given a lot away.
Oh, mid lane, Razor is also about to give something away. He doesn't even get the tier 1 tower in time, and that will be denied by KP, and now Ninja Boogie will claim himself a very nice kill onto the Razor. Bit greedy there from Facehugger to stick around that long, and Mineski do punish. So now Moon gonna find himself in trouble as well. Will swashbuckle away. Spirit will not actually reach him either. They will put the Frost Shield, but the swap will be there, and now Moon loses his life. Ninja Boogie throws out the Chain Frost. Maybe trying to get lucky with that, but they were already gone by that point.
Yeah, really keen on that Chain Frost coming out from Ninja, as you mentioned. And I guess a pretty nice kill going the way of EVOS. I mean, they did lose their Razor beforehand, but getting that kill on Moon is also pretty big. He has slowed down in farm considerably. He only has his Maelstrom up, nowhere near the mech yet, which means his durability is not going to be that wild.
Down Raging Potato again. Whiteman will get the kill for himself, and I mean, there's 3 sentry wards right across the Dire River into the jungle right there, so there's actually no entry point for Raging Potato apart from that top lane, and even while you're in, there's 1 deep into the jungle, so he really can't try and scout out with the Nyx Assassin anymore.
Yeah, it's at that point in the game where you've kind of done your job as a Nyx in terms of scouting, and now you just have to accept that they will be wasting resources on stopping you from scouting around, so you should be fairly happy with that and kind of change your playstyle instead. Just sticking with your teammates and kind of helping them out in case something happens.
For the tier 1 mid, going to be the target. KP will be there with that Diabolic Edict. Managed to burst it down eventually. Now, the top lane being pushed in by EVOS, but they will be ready to defend on the side of Mineski.
Again.
Yeah. Same mistake. I think that was the 3rd time now, perhaps the 4th. And I think
I'm not sure what to say.
At this point, he definitely knows that there's no way in.
He ought to know. He ought to know, but
I mean, those were very fresh,
sure.
John. Those sentries were fresh.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I mean, he's died so many times in that jungle area just by walking around. I'm not sure why he didn't shoot so earlier. Is a real point here, but Hopefully this time around he does realize that he cannot afford to go on those scouting runs anymore. It's time for him to play a bit passively, stick with his team, stick in the lanes at the very least, and try to farm up that blink, because he's going to need it to really start these fights for Mineski.
Facehugger, top of the net worth board, 8.5k for him. He's closely followed by Arjit, who has started focusing on just purely farming on that Terrorblade, which is pretty much what he needs to do anyway. Gonna have that Manta style up very, very soon. In fact, there it is. In terms of In Your Dream, as the Necro 1 book is actually going to go into the Midas after that, so it feels the need to go late game with that.
I can't blame him for going for that. At the same time, I feel like that order is definitely a bit wonky. If you were going for that Midas, I feel like an early prioritization of it would have had more value for you, much more higher value, much more efficient use of your gold rather than this Necronomicon, if you weren't going to max it out early on anyway. But, you know, that is the decisions we have, and this should help In Your Dream accelerate his farm. At least play catch-up, maybe catch-up to the Razor or the Terrorblade, and finally reach some farm parity there.
Raging Potato finding himself on the opposite side of the map this time. Almost actually going to scout out an EVOS smoke by the looks of it. But they did drop a sentry just in case he was around the area. And look how much sentries Whiteman's been dropping just for that Nyx Assassin. Really well played by him on that support Vengeful Spirit to make sure they know exactly where Potato is.
Yeah, again, that's really key here for EVOS. Just making sure Raging Potato cannot get anything done is a very big thing to have, because otherwise this guy would be deep in your jungle, he'd be scouting out your movement, he'd let your team know when to pull out, when to push in, and that's a lot to really work around with. That's a lot of information that you can exploit for the side of Mineski. So investing in these wards, it's pretty big for EVOS, and that does definitely shut down what Raging Potato can do on this hero.
Stuck at level 8 as well, that Nyx Assassin. Certainly has found himself dropping levels. Can't really soak up any XP if you're roaming the whole time. Again, EVOS just maintaining that vision within the map, or at the very least within the jungle, although there is a smoke there by Mineski now. Raging will be the first one in, maybe trying to bait them out. The lift was there, but the Rod of Atos to hold the Rubik in place. It still doesn't look great for the side of Mineski, and now here comes Facehugger. They swap out Whiteman, though he is going down. Raging Potato is the secondary to 4. Now In Your Dream, the Remnant is gone. Who else are they even going for? It's just a 1-for-1 trade. Both teams pretty much dissipate as soon as the supports go down.
Yeah, pretty iffy from Mineski. I found it odd that Raging Potato just chose to walk up like that. Didn't really start with the stun from the high ground or anything of the sort, just kind of walking up, trying to get that engage on. If they got the stun on In Your Dream, I feel like that might have been a very, very different story to tell for Mineski. It might have gone their way, they might have found that kill on In Your Dream, but instead it just kinds of being a wash. Support for a support trade. Not the ideal. At the same time, you're not going to be too mad about it.
In Your Dream does end up finding himself the Midas now. Looks like he will go into the Maelstrom and Boots of Travel straight after. Especially at that point, once the Maelstrom and Boots of Travel are up, is when the Arc Warden becomes super annoying to deal with. Mineski did a pretty good job of making sure he couldn't get those items sub 20 minutes, but it looks like at this rate, thanks to Whiteman with those wards, Your Dream will be up there and ready to go relatively soon.
Yeah, and that's going to start to cause issues for Mineski as soon as that's up. Of course, Mineski doesn't really have anything that can globally travel by itself. Nothing like a Nature's Prophet, nothing like an Ember Spirit that can go around the map quite fast. So you will lack that option to push back against spam that will come out from this Warden.
Nice swap out from Whiteman to save a Vil for the moment. They are going to go after Raging Potato once again, and there's a Rubik rolling around as a square, John, or even a cube. Lovely Arcana there from Valve. They actually get away with saving a Vil, just barely. They do get Raging Potato in return.
Yeah, good trades coming out. Really nice save coming out there from our Vengeful Spirit, just showing the power of that swap. And it's getting a bit wonky here for Mineski. They've fed a lot of kills away towards EVOS. It's now 13 to 16. They still maintain a 3k net worth lead on Mineski's side. It's just that I think that's mainly on Ajit being as farmed as he is. So it's slightly worrisome for Mineski, the fact that it's their turn to really just kind of triple here and not play around at Metamorphosis. They're probably waiting for Ajit to finish up that Eye of Scotty first for taking these fights, which is a fair enough point. But I feel like very soon, if they don't start trying to contest these movements from EVOS, they're going to have issues in the split push.
There was a nice impel down at that bot lane. He will actually cancel the TP of Avil. Roshan will be taken now by the side of Mineski, but it does cost them a T2 tower. Like, side of EVOS may make it in time to try and counter this. Weidman, he's getting in there. We'll scout out the Roshan, still not gone, and now the roll in from the Rubik. Cubes are not meant to roll like that, John, but they're defying physics right now. However, Weidman is gone. Ajit still fighting in the Roche pit. Needs the Sunder. Who's got the Aegis? Ajit does get it, although he will end up dying. That means no Metamorphosis for him any longer. KB, meanwhile, copying way too much damage. Will be able to outrun In Your Dream. However, in fact, no. Leisu ends up finding him. He will end up losing his own life. Basehugger, he'll go down as well to Ajit. And it looks like EVOS actually end up losing that fight quite single-handedly.
Yeah, it looked pretty tight for Mineski, but they do manage to snag that Aegis on Ajit, which was really crucial. If Ajit just straight up didn't, he'd be dead. And that would have been very costly for Mineski, but instead, they only lose their last track. They managed to take 4 heroes down from EVO's side as well, and that really does help them jump back into this game. Going up to 17-17, really tight game so far, Mike. 3k net worth lead. The way of Mineski at 24 minutes in. It's still anyone's game. You know, it's not like this is completely Mineski side. 3k net worth at 24 minutes in isn't massive, and it's something you can definitely play around, so we're still at that point where it's anyone's game. You know, you're still waiting for In Your Dream to really become massive and start split pushing like mad. He does have his travels up, so I am keen on seeing that Tempest double just TPing around, spawning some Necronomicons, and getting its farm going.
T1 bot tower will be the target of Ajit now. We're able to grab that quite easily and Raging. Trying to set up a kill onto Weidman. Weidman runs up the high ground. We'll place another sentry ward on the uphill. So it does look like they may just allow this T2 to go down. EVOS slowly making their way in. Ajit, he will have meta in just a second, and they want to get started on that Razor. He's the highest net worth on EVOS, but he will get blown up by the side of Mineski, and now the rest of EVOS don't want to borrow this. In Your Dream, that is just the illusion anyway, but it will end up falling rather soon. Now the Rolling Thunder, they'll go after the Vengeful Spirit. Weidman will end up going down, and that'll mean the mid tier 2 tower can also go down.
Yeah, nice engagement coming out from EVOS that was off the back of Raging Potato, landing a beautiful double impale there. And you can see this guy, when he's not being spotted out by the sentries, he does so much work, which really explains why EVOS has to invest that much in making sure Raging Potato doesn't walk around like that, because when he can, he sets up perfectly for Mineski to follow up.
Looks like Mineski won't get greedy with the tier 3, rather they will go for the tier 2 bot tower. They've gotten themselves a pretty nice lead now at 7k, although Leisu gets a lift. It was on an illusion, however, but they've still called out the Terrorblade. Ajit really wants to back off, being body blocked by his own illusions. Avil will come in with the Raw straight onto the Pangolier, trying to burst down Moon, though Impale from Raging Potato will save the day for the moment. Leisu trying to find a lift target. Raging just going to make sure nobody can catch up and will eventually run away.
Nice clean disengage coming out from Mineski again. And just these impales from Raging Potato are buying so much space for everyone in Mineski, so really well played to him. And EVOS, I'm not sure what to say. We already have In Your Dream with his Tempest double and his boots, his Necronomicon 1. I don't think I felt the effect of his split push just yet. Granted, it's a Necro 1, it's still a Maelstrom, not Mjolnir, but you still start to feel the effect of that Arc Ward and Tempest double going around the map, and it feels like he hasn't really had the opportunity to maximize that just yet.
Certainly doesn't seem that way, no. Your Dream looking to finish the full Mjolnir. Perhaps that's what it's going to take to get started. He just needs that Hyperstone. But doesn't want to risk going to the secret shop. Mineski continuing to stick around the dire jungle, waiting for a target in that mid lane, but nobody really shows up. The BKB coming out on the Terrorblade now. Jit gonna feel a lot more comfortable in these engagements to just stand there and right click as he needs to. They do have the raw to go through it, however, but it's still probably better than nothing.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. At the very least, you do block out a bit more of the other source of control from, from all the other spells. You just need to worry about that Primal Roar.
Hey, sir. Okay. Mineski still sticking around that jungle area. In Your Dream has started the split push with the Arc Warden, hence why you see that bot lane pushing in. Mid lane, Moon really doesn't want to go after the Rubik, would rather a much bigger target. But they will go for it if it is available for free, and it looks like that will be the case. Moon picking up a nice easy kill. Meanwhile, there will be a bit of a push going out of the top lane, but it is only some Terrorblade illusions. So they'll just force In Your Dream back to defend that on that Arc Warden. Meanwhile, they still look for a bigger target on the side of EVOS to try and pick off. KP will get caught out. Yules will be there though. Swap may help him out. Another swap. He doesn't know which way he's going, and now the Raw committed. Fair enough. Gets the job done.
Yeah, EVOS at this point does need every single kill they can get, and killing off KP like that is pretty good. You do slow down the push a bit there, as of course the Leshrac is a lot of that shoving capability with the Diabolic Edict. So push is going to be delayed for a bit from Mineski. I don't think they're going to force any sort of issue while they're playing 4v5. Although they are still going to go on ward runs here at the bot lane. Good smoke up. Maybe at least take out that really low HP T2. Or actually go on a hunt.
See who they can find. They found Whiteman, but the Impale, actually, the Spike Carapace will do the job for the moment. Now Facehugger will go in and try to burst down Raging Potato, though he may be in trouble. Face just trying to run. They'll go after the Vengeful Spirit first, just get rid of that support, and he is gonna die eventually. It's just gonna take a bit of time. Now, can they find more? They found the Rubik. He has Shield Crash, but that's all he really has. Meanwhile, KP still trying to get Facehugger. Will stun him up. Won't be enough, though. Now Face actually walks in by himself, but nobody's there to really hold him down. They don't have a creep wave on the way either. It is being pushed out up at that top lane, so I don't believe they can actually go for that top racks. Rather, they will move their way into the mid lane. See what they can get done here. See, Avil making sure he just creep skips the whole of the map and not really allow Mineski to get in there. Raging Potato's actually having a look for him now. Impale will not end up connecting. Nevertheless, John, Mineski now with a 10k advantage and certainly looking very, very powerful and dominant this game.
Certainly so. They have been playing the cards just right. They've taken away the effectiveness of Evo's draft. We haven't really felt the threat of that Arc Warden. Besides him cutting through creep waves to slow down the push, I don't think we've really felt the lanes be under pressure just yet, and that could be down to the itemization. He is stuck with Necro 1, so the push isn't that amazing yet. I feel like he might have had to reprioritize to max those Necro books, but he's going for a very, very varied item build right now. He's going for that MKB first, it looks like, and it should be helpful against a Terrorblade, but I don't think there's... I mean, he doesn't have his Butterfly yet, but by the time it's up, I suppose he'll have that MKB up as well.
Raging, looking for another target once again. Can't quite find one. They are hiding in that tree line to the right, though. In Your Dream shows himself. Does have support there. In fact, they're trying to maybe bait someone into trying to go for In Your Dream. Can't overextend too much, though. But it looks like Mineski aren't willing to take the bait anyway. They'll back off to safety and just ensure their safety for the moment.
There is a smoke out from EVOS, so looks like they want to get some aggression going for themselves.
Well, there's a Roshan up as well, and they will go straight onto Moon on that Pango. Get rid of that pesky animal, and well, can they take him? No, not quite yet. Moon does end up surviving. Meanwhile, a nice stun from KP, though. Swap will be there. Now the Rolling Thunder. He rolls straight through them. FaZe is trying to take him out, but he's just rolling away quite fast. In Your Dream will TP out. Moon somehow still alive and will blink out in time. Meanwhile, in the mid lane, Raging Potato setting up another kill for his team, and that will be on the Razor. Facehugger, that's a big kill for the side of Mineski, and they do get it. No buybacks available on either the Venge or the Razor.
Yeah, nice clean kills coming out from Mineski. It looked pretty bad at the start, but somehow Moon just survives through. I think that's the power, really, of the Guardian Greaves. When you drop below that threshold and you get that bonus armor and HP regen, it does so much work in a hero like Pangolier that you can see the value in this pickup, really, every time it's in there. He does get away with a really tight fight.
Oh, Raging, he found another one. Avil gets caught out. In fact, they caught two of them. In Your Dream cannot afford to die like this, but he will, and he has no buyback. Avil does, but he's not quite as important as the Arc Warden, and now they will just go finish the Roshan off.
Yeah, that's really unfortunate for EVOS. They're not going to have In Your Dream for at least a minute, and a minute's probably going to be enough for Mineski to do at least significant chip damage on these tier 3s. Even if they just take out one tier 3, of course the shrines will open up, and suddenly you lose a lot of map control if you're EVOS.
Aegis and Cheese going to be put onto Arjit for the moment. Meanwhile, mid lane being pushed in by Moon. They want to make sure they have the creep wave this time around. So Gaze will be there from Leisu to hold him down. Impale will not connect, and now Moon has to be careful. They swap him in. Still has Swashbuckle, will be alright. Now Arjit is here. Will throw out the Reflection. Doesn't have the Metamorphosis, but doesn't really need it either. Arjit just wants to probably get one Rax and get away, though he may lose his Aegis here. Nice swap from the VS. Now the Impale and the Rolling Thunder actually doing a lot of work from Moon. It's not quite going to be enough. They will let the Aegis go for the moment, though. Facehugger in the middle of all this with the Chain Frost doing so much damage. He's still walking away, though in the backlines. They're underneath the Ancient right now. They may have gone too far, Mineski. They're going to walk away without getting the Rax, though Arjit will find Avil once again. Now they do find Raging Potato up at that top lane, and they will take him out. 19k net worth lead, but because they didn't have the meta available at the time, they didn't really win out that team fight. Now they do have the Metamorphosis, and it looks like they may have another crack at this.
Yeah, I can understand why Mineski wouldn't pull back. I mean, why would you when you have this Metamorphosis up? You still have the cheese on Ajit as well. And you know they blew their load there. You know, Primal Roar, even when Beastmastery respawns, there's a window of opportunity here, so they will just force out as much as they can for Mineski's side.
Nice swap. Arjit has the Sunder wherever necessary. VS will drop. No buyback on him. The In Your Dream illusion being very annoying, but it will drop in just a second, though it will find KP before it does. Still, the Rax is gone, though Arjit really doesn't want to die right now. Still holds the Sunder. Will use it on In Your Dream. He can't afford to die either, though Arjit will go for a run. A Raging Potato trying to snipe him down. They've got the Terrorblade, and they're doing a lot of damage. They will find a very important kill on the side of EVOS. If they can find any more, it'll be even better, but it looks like the side of Mineski will make a run for it and will be out. Though Raging. Careful. No sentries down the path, and it looks like he will be okay. They do find the mid-racks. Oh, Raging Potato's still there apparently.
Yeah, there's a gem on Facehugger. Probably didn't realize that. Does die, rather sensitively. That was a dieback on Raging Potato, by the way. So it's gonna be a long time until he's back in the game, and that might be enough time for EVOS to get a decent push of their own going right now. They still are in a bit of a precarious spot. At the very least, if your In Your Dream dies now, he does have buyback, unless he buys out. Okay, he still has a little bit left for buyback, just around 300 gold. Should be able to farm that back up just fine. So, not under any sort of big scare here for In Your Dream.
KB though, up for the Arc Warden as well now. Turn. Long Thunder clears the creep wave quite easily with that, though the Roar will come in from Avil. Now can they burst him down? Not quite, he's rather tanky, although In Your Dream just man fighting and doing the job. He takes him down and now he will be able to claim a T3 tower, and suddenly EVOS will be the ones claiming a Rax off the side of Mineski.
Just one bad team fight, all it takes. They will have...
OKP, I'm not sure about that. He does end up balling, does have buyback available. Arjit commits the BKB, Chain Frost being thrown out as well. They already got the melee racks. Whiteman may end up falling to those illusions. They will be able to get away, but not the greatest of news for Mineski. I mean, they just got a Rax of their own and now they give up one.
Yeah, certainly not the best chain of events for Mineski, but it's something they have to cope with again. The power of Arc Warden is popping out here, Mike. This is what you love to watch. You know, just illusions coming out and pushing stuff, and the game's never ending because, hey, all your lanes are being shoved while you're pushing.
Yeah, it's a fantastic hero. Fantastic indeed. Though, gotta admit, In Your Dream, he had a tough time early on. He has caught up. Not quite there with the Terrorblade, but he's very, very close. It's anyone's game, really. 11k net worth lead for Mineski, but that kind of means nothing at this point. Up the win probability graph, and I mean, Mineski were pretty much at 95%, even more than that, and well, now it's dropping to around that 80% mark.
Oh no. Archit is fine. Thought he was going to get caught out there for a moment. Over bounty runes of all things too.
They are very important, John. Roshan, still about 2.5 minutes before we find out when he will respawn. Meanwhile, the beauty of the Arc Warden being shown down at that bot lane. Pushing out those creep waves and keeping that pressure on that, well, essentially tier 4s. Now the Raging jumps in, will go straight on In Your Dream and wants to take him out immediately though. Can they burst him? Yes, they can. Buyback is available though on him, though Facehugger perhaps may not be so lucky, will end up dropping and will go down. Buyback's available on all 3 heroes that went down, but if you're Mineski right now, you definitely want to force those.
Definitely so. It's funny to see as well, because of that double damage rune coming out on Ajit. Even if he's losing 271 attack damage, he's still hitting 400.
Yeah. Kind of ridiculous. Gonna go for a very quick tier 3 tower. This is definitely gonna have to be buybacks from the side of EVOS. They will start committing them. Now the cube rolling around. Meanwhile, Raging Potato throwing out some very nice impales, just holding them back. Although the Terrorblade being stun locked right now, he will end up going down. Ninja Boogie trying to get the hell out of there. Moon may have to die for the cause. Still, Swashbuckle is there, but no, In Your Dream finds a double, and they will find. In fact, they didn't find Ninja Boogie. He does manage to TP out in time. Mineski overstay their welcome.
Yeah, I think it's going to be an issue if Ajit keeps dying like this. I'm not sure if more damage is really the answer here. I think when he was working on Lincoln's, I felt like that would have been a very good choice. But I really don't think damage is the issue. I don't think Ajit is lacking at all. I think he just needs to block either the Static Link or the Primal Roar. And he's going to be pretty much okay with everything else.
Looks like the side of EVOS looking to push in that mid lane and perhaps force some buybacks out of the side of Mineski. Get started with that tier 2 tower. Moon will immediately buy back before they even reach the tier 3, and that will be enough for EVOS to just back off to safety for the moment. There are still shrines to be taken, or at the very least one, and they will go for that instead.
Yeah, it's definitely a bit of a safer play here. You do have Jit respawning soon. You're going to have Raging Potato back up as well. So probably best to just clear out what you can, pull back, maybe wait for the rush to be back up. It will be back up in about a minute 40 seconds. No wards around that area though for EVOS, so it's going to be hard for them to really contest that.
Mineski, they smoke up immediately. They really want to try and finish this off. Daedalus being picked up onto In Your Dream. No buyback available. It is on cooldown right now. Raging, can he set up a pick-off attempt for his team? Just one target, but they will all stick together on the side of EVOS and do back off the safety their base. Again, I mean, these Arc Wardens, John, you can just creep skip, ruin the creep wave, and just back off to safety again. Like, there's not much the side of Mineski can really do about that.
Yeah, again, that's one of the main features of this Arc Warden, and it's really why you enjoy watching these games. It's just like watching a Tinker going around the map, clearing out the creep waves, making high ground push as hell. Same kind of concept with Arc Warden almost.
They will find the shrines up at the top jungle. Bot lane now being pushed in. And of course KP will be on that essentially defense duty. So he's got to also defend the top lane where In Your Dream is also pushing out the tier 2 tower there, and he will actually claim it for the side of EVOS, even applauding himself. That's the kind of laugh I have when I see an Arc Warden being picked, John. Exactly the laugh I have.
Just pure joy, eh?
Absolutely. Nevertheless, Mineski do seem to be in a bit of a predicament, John. They're ahead in terms of net worth, but just can't find initiation. Although EVOS run into them. The Impale, it wasn't really great, but it got the job done. Avil, he will get bursted down. Now Facehugger sapping a lot of damage out of Arjit. The Chain Frost bouncing around from the Rubik and dealing a lot of damage in itself. KP in the middle of all this. Looks like he will get taken down, but he's trying his best to delay it. He will go down on the side of Mineski. And that'll make it a 2-for-0 for EVOS. Buyback available on KP, though.
It was a 2-for-1. They did buy back in the Beastmaster.
Ah, of course, yes.
So Avil did buy back there, but they do manage to take some pretty pivotal kills. They are really screwing up Mineski right now. I thought it might have been a good initiation for Mineski, especially that rope, but now they're probably going to lose Moon.
Kinda close. Will be able to get himself out, but definitely a scary situation for him. Luckily, Leisu did not have Rolling Thunder on him. Otherwise, that would have been a very big concern. Roshan has respawned now, and EVOS will take the momentum of the game and start pushing in that Roshan. They can take it very, very quickly as well within your dream. Of course, Mineski don't really want to give this up, but at the same time, they're 2 heroes down right now. Just maybe trying to delay it so they can get those heroes back up before they engage. Although Arjit gets caught out with the lift, gets 4-staff back, but he may just be dead right now. He goes for the team fight, but the roar is there. He's still surviving throughout all, but he needs it throughout the thunder, and he gets it as well. Facehugger will be the one to go down. Now Moon goes through all of them with that Rolling Thunder. Whiteman just trying to get out of there. Another nice stun from Moon. He'll find a third. 2 heroes down with no buyback available. Whiteman somehow allowed to TP in the middle of all this. Meanwhile, In Your Dream gets caught out by KP, and he really wants to get rid of this Arc Warden. It looks like that'll be the end of In Your Dream. No buyback on him either, and this could be GG.
This is going to be really rough defense coming out for EVOS. No buybacks on those 3 heroes. All you really have is the bench and the Rubik. They're going to have to play amazingly to really hold this off, but I think Mineski's aware of the buyback status. They're just going to go for the kill here.
I mean, that team fight, John, Arjit was so close to going down, but he survived just long enough to get the Sunder and take out that Razor Oh, nice swap onto Rage Potato, but he's still alive, and now Moon comes in and cleans it up. 4 heroes down, make that 5, and that's a GG. Mineski will progress through to the lower bracket final, John, and it happened that damn quickly.
Yeah, what a game, what a series coming out from Mineski. 2-0. Game 2, 40-32, 47 minutes in, 21k net worth lead for Mineski, and I have to say, you know, they showed us how to really maximize this Terrorblade. EVOS had a good run, had a good few moments here and there, but in the end, I just felt like, again, it took them way too long to get aggressive with that Arc Warden, and unfortunately for them, the gates of Disneyland are closed for them for now, Mike.
Unfortunately, but big congratulations to Mineski for moving on. Of course, EVOS putting a fantastic showing on through these qualifiers, making it quite far. But unfortunately, they will have to wait till next time. Mineski, meanwhile, have no time to rest. They'll go straight into the lower bracket final. Another best-of-3 series up against TNC, who, unfortunately for their sake, did lose to Fnatic. Although, luckily for their sake, there is 1 ticket left. So, hopefully, a hype last best-of-3 for us before this qualifier ends, John. We'll be right back because I'm sure the lobby's going up now. It is MLP Dota and johnxfire, and we'll see you guys very, very soon.